What is going on, everybody? It is Friday, February the 25th, and that means it's time for my News Radar. And let's start off this episode with some interesting information here about an upcoming build of Windows 11 in the developer channel, which I think might be indicative of where Windows 11 is headed. Let's do some quick backstory here, though, because a while back, there was a version of Windows that was being worked on called Windows 10X. And this was the version of Windows that was meant to run on devices like Surface Neo. If you don't remember Surface Neo, think Surface Duo, but a lot bigger. And basically, this OS was meant to be the OS of these new dual-screen PC-like devices like Surface Neo. Microsoft was set to pioneer a brand new section, or segment would be a better word, of the PC market in this dual-screen way, just like they're trying to do with smartphones. Surface Duo over the shoulder there. And there were a lot of cool customizations in Windows 10X that made it good for touchscreens, but also good for dual-screen devices. Now, over time, we've seen a lot of these changes make their way over to Windows 11. For instance, this start screen is pretty much the same as what we get on Windows 10X, or what we would have gotten on Windows 10X. The other menu that's usually over here that I can't show you on my secondary monitor is also the same as it was, or very, very similar to what it was going to be on Windows 10X. And now we're beginning to see more things make their way over, because part of this update, let me open up the link here and I'll kind of show you what we're talking about, involves the taskbar, and it makes the taskbar basically be the taskbar that we saw on Surface Neo. Reading from their blog post here, we're introducing a new taskbar state that is specifically designed to make you feel more confident and more comfortable using your device as a tablet. Your taskbar will automatically transition to this optimized version when you disconnect or fold back the keyboard on your 2-in-1 device. This feature only works on devices that can be used as tablets. It does not work on laptops or desktop PCs. There are two states of this taskbar: collapsed and expanded. In the collapsed state, the taskbar gets out of the way, gives you more screen space, and prevents you from accidentally invoking the taskbar when you're holding your tablet. In the expanded state, the taskbar is optimized to be easier to use with touch. You can easily switch between the two states by swiping up and down on the bottom of your device. And if we look here, what you'll see here is a taskbar that looks very similar to an Android taskbar, right? Does that not remind you of an Android taskbar as I just kind of scroll all over the place? You've literally got a bar down here to swipe around on. You've got your time and your icons over there in the corner, and then when you connect the keyboard, or I guess if you swipe up on it, you will then get the full normal Windows 11 taskbar, but otherwise, you're going to be sitting in this state. Now, why do I say that this is reminiscent of what we had on Surface Neo? Well, let's look here at a picture we had of Surface Neo, and let's zoom in on this as best we can, and what you're going to see is that it's that taskbar. I mean, it's identical to the taskbar that we were going to have on Surface Neo. Of course, this never came to light. This never was shipped. This was never released. But there it is. They're bringing that exact taskbar back, and this time it's going to be a part of Windows 11. Pretty interesting to see, and I would love to see, a continuation of this. They put a lot of work into Windows 10X, and then 10X got canceled along with Surface Neo, which may be canceled, may not be canceled, probably just on the back burner. Maybe we'll see it again down the line, maybe not though. So a lot of that stuff from Windows 10X is slowly being brought into the fold here on Windows 11, and that's a good thing. Switching gears, let's talk about maybe a future Google phone. We're going to keep this one brief because we are a long way out, and I don't know how real this is going to be, but I thought it was worth mentioning because it came from OnLeaks, who is somebody that is generally extremely accurate about their leaks. And what you're looking at here is going to be renders of the Pixel 7. Apparently, this guy already has leaks of specifications of what Pixel 7 is going to look like. And if we look at it here, it's going to look pretty much exactly like the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro. And this is not super surprising because this new design that Google has with the new Pixel devices, with that rather large camera bar, on the back. That's a design that they want to keep for a long time, and a big reason is because that bar is quite large, and it's going to allow them to add larger and larger sensors to that bar without having to change the design. It's big enough to fit big sensors in there, and that's something that they're not going to change anytime soon. Now, this does also mention some specifications here. He's saying that this thing is apparently potentially going to have dual 50 megapixel sensors in the back. This is the Pixel 7, not the Pixel 7 Pro. So that's a step up here, because the current Pixel 6 has a 50 megapixel standard camera, but then only a 12 megapixel ultra wide. So should that be true, we're looking at probably a 50 megapixel ultra wide as well. Now, take all this stuff with a pinch of salt, because this is so far out. This is so early. I do think the phone is going to look pretty much like this, though, just simply because they're not going to change the design that radically 2 years in a row. But as for the specs, might be something to kind of, again, take with a pinch of salt, pump your brakes on, maybe not, go betting on. But then again, we're talking about a leaker who is extremely accurate. Interesting to see these sorts of things leaking so damn early. So now we need to talk about Apple AirTags. They've been in the news a ton as of late, and honestly, this is a place where I'm going to have to defend Apple. If you don't know, Apple AirTags are these cool little discs that you can affix to different things that you own. And if you lose that thing, you're able to use it to track that item down. In fact, it uses Apple's Find My network, I think is what they call it, so that if that disc, whenever it's attached to something, if it gets lost somewhere, anyone that walks by it with an Apple device, that device is going to be able to detect that AirTag, and then it's going to be able to update the AirTag's location via that other device's GPS location, or GPS, or also just its mobile network, and it kind of triangulates that way. So basically, it uses the phone walking by, it uses that thing's location to update the location of the AirTag. Then you go on your phone, I've lost my keys or whatever, you check, and it will show you a map and say, hey, it was just pinged by another phone in this spot. You can go get it and go find it. Cool, awesome, works really, really well. Now, the reason it's been in the news, though, is for very nefarious reasons. People are apparently taking this now rather ubiquitous, which is important, Apple AirTag, affixing it to the cars and so forth of people who they mean to track and stalk in some way, and then using that to find out where they live, to follow them home. This is bad, this is creepy, this is weird, this is terrible. And people are saying, oh my God, Apple AirTags are enabling people to stalk people in a new and unusual and terrible way. This is where I need to push back on this a little bit, because what Apple's actually doing is better than most other things, because I own some other AirTags like Tile, Samsung has some, and there's a big difference here with Apple's product, and this news story is going to talk about how they're going a step further with this. Basically, if your phone knows that you're moving and it's picking up an AirTag, it's going to actually tell you that an unknown device is nearby, cluing in people that there's an AirTag with you. So people that were in the know have determined, hey, I'm driving down the road, my phone keeps saying that it's picking up a device like this. That's weird. Someone must have placed an AirTag on my car. I am now being tracked and stalked by someone rather horribly. Well, this news story says that they're taking anti-stalking tracking notifications and taking it a step further, which is great. And as we read here, prior to this new iOS 15.4 beta number 4, iPhones would show notifications stating that an unknown accessory has been moving with them when users carry around AirTags, I think they meant AirTags there, that aren't linked to their accounts. But that was a little vague, right? It's better than what we get from Tile or Samsung, which to my knowledge don't tell you anything is going on. You have no way to know at all. So it's better than that, but it's worse than it could be. Apple will now display a clear notification of the, again, I believe this is meant to be AirTag, not AirPod, although I believe that the AirPods also use the Find My network, but I have a really hard time believing people are tracking people with a set of Apple AirPods, as those are quite expensive. It would be kind of a weird thing to tape to the back of someone's car to track them. I'm going to assume that they mean AirTag here instead of AirPod. But basically now it's going to tell you that's an AirTag that is traveling with you. So there's no more sort of vagueness about, oh, this unknown accessory. No, you're going to know that it's an AirTag as it's tracking you now. And honestly, this is a great step forward. This kind of stuff is something that needs to be made very, very clear. And earlier, I mentioned that these AirTags are somewhat ubiquitous now, and I think that's why this is becoming such a big problem. We've had Tile, and we've had Samsung smart tags as well, but this was never something that got talked about. And I think there's two reasons why. I think reason number one is just because AirTags are probably a lot more popular than those other options. So there's a lot more of them out there in the world. And then two, people wouldn't know they were being tracked by those other ones because there is no notification to inform them that that was happening. So Apple's gotten a lot of flack on this because people know that people are using them in this horrible way, whereas other devices don't tell you that anything's going on. That's objectively worse. So again, I'm not like a huge Apple fan, even though some of you in the comments like to call me an Apple fanboy, which is the strangest thing in the world to call someone who literally doesn't own a single Apple product an Apple fanboy. But what Apple's doing here is objectively better and safer than what other companies are doing. And other companies, there needs to be some sort of standardized thing going on here with these AirTag type devices, these GPS trackers. If they become ubiquitous really in general, this is a huge safety concern, and Apple is kind of pioneering a good approach here towards letting people know. Now, again, another problem here is if you don't own an Apple device, an iPhone, and someone straps an AirTag to your car, you don't get the benefit of this notification. This is an iOS-only thing. So you're safer if you're part of the Apple ecosystem, but if you're outside of it, you're not safe, either if it's from another tracking device, like a Samsung or an AirTag, or if you just don't own an Apple phone. So that's not good. And this is something that we need to find as a whole, a community, a tech community. We need to find a better solution for in general, because this is something that can potentially make people who are vulnerable even more vulnerable. This is scary stuff for people to have to think about. We need to do better. Guys, thanks for making it to the end of today's news radar. If you did make it all the way to the end, you probably enjoyed the video. Maybe click that subscribe button so that you don't miss the next one. I'll see you on that next episode. I do one of these every Monday and Friday. I will see you then. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.